Hey everyone, welcome back to Tuckway Pines. Today I am out on the back porch because I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about some medicinal herbs that I'm starting to kind of learn more about and start growing and adding to my herbal collection, if you will. So today's herb that I'd like to sit here and talk to you a little bit more about is chamomile, specifically German chamomile. There are other types of varieties of chamomile such as English, Roman, and German. I went with the German chamomile just because those were the seeds I was able to find. I didn't have any sort of preference as far as German, English, or Roman. So I am open to trying the other varieties when I do have the opportunity to gather their seeds. But so all the chamomile varieties do share the same benefits, although German chamomile isn't as aromatic as the other varieties. And even in the medieval times, people back then would use the English or Roman variety because, again, it's a little more aromatic for their aromatic properties. They would sprinkle them on the floor and things like that, and then you could kind of smell them, you know, permeating the air, which is kind of interesting, I thought. Also, I read that the Egyptians used to use chamomile for embalming purposes and also as a sacred plant because they thought that it was a gift from Ra, which is their sun god. So chamomile is a daisy-like flower. It has a yellow center with white petals that go around the whole center in a single layer. Once the petals are fresh and new, they like to lay flat and even around the yellow part. But as they mature and get older, the petals start to lay back down, almost like a coneflower arrangement. As you can see, the leaves are not like your typical broadleaf. They're similar to dill-like leaves. They grow very lanky, very tall. They like to grow in pretty much any sort of soil. They aren't very particular as far as the soil quality. Sandy loamy is the best, but they aren't picky. But a little more on the history of chamomile and its medicinal uses throughout time, aside from the medieval aromatic uses and the embalming benefits that the Egyptians used chamomile for. Greek doctors would prescribe chamomile at fevers and gynecological issues. Also in the Middle Ages, chamomile was a prized flower for monastery garden and was used to aid in any sort of gut or digestion issues. But also, very interesting enough, I read that it also was used to aid in not only kidney stone but gallstone removal as well. The early settlers brought over chamomile from Europe to North America, and primarily they used chamomile for aiding not only in digestion issues but also skin conditions. You got to think back then, traveling on those ships, conditions weren't very hygienic, so they had to kind of use whatever herbs and stuff that they had on hand to help make it a little more comfortable for them, I would imagine. But today, more modern times, chamomile is used for a range of issues and ailments, and not just only for digestion issues, but also for sleeplessness, heartburn, diarrhea, Crohn's disease. It's also been known to help benefit infant colic also. And I also read that there were studies to show that used as a mouthwash, it can help alleviate any sort of mouth sores, especially those caused by various cancer treatments, which I thought was very interesting because I know that can be very hard to deal with, and any sort of help to kind of make it a little more comfortable is always welcomed in that kind of situation. So try some chamomile mouthwash if that seems to be affecting anybody that you know. Also, it has also helped with anxiety, muscle issues, tension, and even certain skin conditions, any sort of skin irritations, inflammation, even eczema, any kind of light rash. So yeah, it has been used for a wide variety of things for a very, very long amount of time, centuries, and even today it's still being used very beneficially. I'm even using it as well as it helps me sleep, helps me with my anxiety a little bit, and also does help me with my stomach and tenseness, because there are days where I get a little tense, a little stressed out, and a little chamomile kind of eases me out a little bit. So today I want to show you how I harvest it and what I do with it primarily. So to show you how I harvest it, it's very simple, very easy. And I did want to say, actually, in Asia and Western Europe and around that region, they do farm this commercially for, you know, over-the-counter benefits and other teas and, you know, mass-produced items, things like that. So there is an industry for chamomile, and what they use to harvest such a wide, you know, field of chamomile is they have like really large combs. It's like a comb like you would comb your hair out, but these combs come through, and instead of ripping out the whole plant, it'll just kind of come up and it rips, just separates the little flower head from the stem of the flower. So, and that's essentially how I'm going to be harvesting it, just on a very small scale. I'm going to just kind of pluck the little flower heads off, and then we will go inside and start to process them. Today, chamomile is primarily used for making tea, which can be ingested or even used topically for certain skin ailments. Chamomile can also be used to make capsules. Once dried and ground down, can be packed into little capsules and ingested that way as well. Another method to using chamomile is making tinctures with it. That seems to last the longest and can provide a nice, strong, potent dose when needed. And if advanced enough, you can make an ointment or a cream using chamomile to help any sort of topical ailments you are experiencing. Chamomile is considered safe to drink and use and ingest unless you have an allergy to it, especially those that have ragweed allergies. Be careful and mindful when using. Okay, so we are back down here in the preservation station. I managed to harvest just a small little handful, which that's pretty typical. Well, that's been typical here, at least this year. It's been a really weird year. Everything's kind of growing a little bit differently in their own way. So I managed to harvest a good amount throughout the whole season thus far. Things are starting to cool down out there. We've gotten a lot of rain lately. It almost feels like fall is coming a lot sooner than we want it to. So that's why I actually tried to do this video really quick for you. That way I was able to show you not only what these guys look like, but to show you what I do to use them for their benefits, and just to provide a little more information on these guys too. So I'm glad that a few of these guys held on a little longer than what they're looking like. So, but again, like I said, I was able to, you know, harvest a fair amount. You know, probably last me a few tea sessions. So, but again, so yeah, that's what I like to use the chamomile for. I like making, you know, kind of like my own tea blends for what I need, how I'm feeling that day, things like that. So what I like to do in order to preserve them for my tea making is just simply dehydrate them. Very easy. I like to pull the flower heads off because typically it'll allow more flower heads to produce in this and that. But you can also just take the whole plant if you want, kind of rip it out, hang it upside down in a nice dry, well air ventilated area, your garage, maybe even like a basement or an attic or something like that, depending on the humidity. And you can let it dry out like that naturally too, that's also fine. But I like doing this. It's a lot more, it's faster for me. I know it's just right here already doing its thing, and again, it allows more to produce if I so choose, or if the weather so chooses. So Simple enough. I just make sure all the heads are completely off. There's a couple little stems still attached, so I'll just kind of rip those off. Make sure it's just the heads. And again, not all these heads are perfect, but they're still good. They got the petals. They're still yellow. They're not starting to brown or bruise or anything like that. Just a little wilty. But they should still have, you know, some sort of medicine in there for me. And yeah, so they look good. Again, not many. But what I'm going to do is take my dehydrator and try and find an open tray here. I had one. Oh, right here. Okay, so we have an open tray. And what I'm just going to do is sprinkle these guys out evenly along the tray so they can dehydrate. And these should be dried in about a day or two, especially since this is the bottom tray, so they're closest to the heating element on this. This particular model of dehydrator, I'm sorry I can't tell you the brand. I don't know it offhand, but it is just those plug-in radiant heat ones. There's no knobs, no settings. So what you want to do for certain things that you dehydrate, you want to kind of check on them every couple hours, maybe swap your trays around so certain things aren't getting all the heat all the time. But with these little guys here, they should dry out pretty fast. If not by tomorrow, the next day for sure. So, and it works a little faster than doing it the hanging method. The hanging method could probably take about a week or so, depending on conditions. And you can also actually dry out herbs in your oven. You could have your pilot light on with the door cracked, you know, just some heat, some air circulation going on there. Or you could even, I've done it where I've turned my oven on to like 200, maybe 250, the lowest it can possibly go. And just have it in for about 30 minutes to an hour. You know, you want to check on it every 10 minutes or so nothing's burnt or fried. But you do want it nice and dried out. So you do it that way as well if you don't have a dehydrator and if you don't want to wait for things to just hang out and dry. Or if you don't have the environment for that. So, but yeah, so now we wait for a day or so. And once everything's dry, I just pop it right in my jar here. And again, this is all stuff I've been harvesting all season. So this is relatively fresh for the year. You know, it'll get me through till next summer, hopefully, until I can grow some more plants. Because I don't know if I mentioned it earlier in the video, but chamomile here is an annual, but it does self-seed very, very easily. So if you were to have it, you know, in your garden bed somewhere, I'm sure the next year you'll find some little volunteers coming up. But I don't know if my pots, because I do have 2 other pots that you saw filled with chamomile. I don't know if being in a pot, they will be willing to self-seed, plus making it through our winter in a pot. So we'll see. We'll find out. If not, I have more seeds. I can definitely try and grow them and use them for more medicine. But that's pretty much it as far as our German chamomile video goes. A little plant walk series edition for you guys. I know it's been a little while. Like I said before, the weather has been pretty hectic for us. It's just kind of all over the place. If it's not one season one day, it's another season the next. So, but that's good old Wisconsin for you. So, but I hope you guys learned a lot in this video. I know I did, doing a lot more research and finding out the history of chamomile, not just its benefits, but the history of it, which I think is very interesting. And so don't forget to like this video if you did. Please leave me a comment. Let me know what are your favorite herbs that you like to grow that help you out, for what benefits that you like to grow them for. And don't forget to subscribe as well so you don't miss out on any other plant walk fun videos that we do here on the homestead. Thank you again, guys, for watching.